So here we are with the first proper battle report going with Tau versus Orks. So this is a Tau battlesuit list. It isn't genuinely that small. There are some in reserves to deploy and the Orks. So Ork engineering versus Tau engineering. This is a spearhead assault deployment, the Eternal War No Mercy mission. So straight up kill stuff onto the armies. So here we have the Tau Farsight Enclaves army. I mean, they all have the Farsight Enclaves keyword, none of it really does much, just sort of unifies the army. No special rules yet, I'm sure we'll get some soon. So first up we have a unit of 3 broadsides with 2 high yield missile pods and twin smart missile systems. Unit of 3 crisis suits, 2 missile rifles on each. There are 3 units of those. I was debating about putting more on, but they get really expensive very quickly when you start chucking on more. There's a unit of crisis bodyguards with twin fusion blasters each, a storm surge with a pulse driver cannon and twin burst cannon, and Commander Farsight. So a nice small compact force, quite a power list in 7th edition. I've not used them in 8th, so it'll be interesting to see how they hold up against the Orks. And for the Orks, so we thought, being a Farsight army, we'd go for an opposite sort of side, so Tau battlesuits against Orky battlesuits, and yeah, there's quite a lot, big and stompy. So we have a unit of 3 killer cans with Scorchers, a Big Mech with a custom force field generator, a Gorknaut, there's 3 Death Dreads with 3 close combat arms and a Scorcher each, a unit of killer cans with 2 rocket launchers, a Morknaut with a custom force field generator, and finally a unit of 3 killer cans with Grotzukas, ready for stompy stompies. Tau got the first turn and the Orks failed to seize the initiative, so at the end of the movement phase, not much has moved around in this corner, as you wouldn't expect. The crisis suits have moved up, and vanguard deployment for 2 of the units of crisis suits and the bodyguards with the fusion blasters, ready to unleash some hell. There's no psychic phase for Tau, obviously, so straight on to shooting. So Tau's first shooting phase was surprisingly lackluster, actually, even with some decent rolls. So the crisis suits and the bodyguard with the fusion blasters opened fire on the Morknaut. They did 9 wounds, that's half wounds so far. Despite that amount of firepower, I thought they might have maybe taken it out. There was some pretty decent rolls, actually. The plasma doesn't hit very hard. They whiffed their rolls horribly. And over on this side, the plasma unit of crisis suits opened fire on the front Death Dread, doing nothing. But despite the sheer amount of firepower from the high yield missile pods and all the big guns on the Storm Surge, including rerolls, because Farsight had used his Cao Yon ability to give everyone within 6 inches rerolls to hit. He opened fire on the Death Dreads and took 4 wounds off the front one and 6 wounds off the one on the left. Yeah, the broadsides rolled pretty well, actually. They got quite a lot of hits. The Storm Surge, the big gun I was hoping on, I rolled 3 hits. I rolled 3 shots, roll to hit, failed all of them, had the reroll, hit 1, so yeah, that was a bit unlucky. That might punch through, but the custom force field generators are pretty useful. These Orks are tougher than I thought. The Tau, I'm not feeling too confident at the moment, but yeah, so there's no close combat phase, that's what I meant. So it's straight onto the Orks' first turn. For the Orks' first turn, I was a bit of a smaghead and completely forgot to do the movement phase and started doing the shooting, so we'll do both at the same time because I are professional. So the killer cans with the Scorchers have ran up. Pretty much everything in the centre part have all the Death Dreads and the Big Mech ran up. That had movement 8, so 8's keeping pace with everyone else, and these guys have all moved up and down. As you can see, has kind of worked as a counter. The killer cans didn't do too much. One of the bodyguards with the fusion blasters caught a rocket in his face, but his armor saved him. Did not save him from this big guy, because ouch. The Grotazookas, again, they just about killed one, so that was okay. And the shooting from the Gorkanaut has almost killed one of the broadside battle suits, which to say half the Ork army didn't shoot because it ran. They did kind of outshoot the Tau, the whole Tau army, that is nowhere near as good in close combat. So not looking very good for the Tau at the moment, but there will be a couple of attempted charges. We'll see if we have a combat phase. So the only combat was in this corner. The Morkanaut and those killer cans tried to charge this unit. Both failed, as you can see, and that killer can lost a wound for its trouble. This was a successful charge. I think not a lot happened. The killer cans did nothing. They took a wound from the Overwatch, and then they took another wound from the crisis suits hitting them. All in all, a very uneventful close combat. So on to Tau turn 2, where things are going to get sticky unless they start killing a lot of those Death Dreads. So let's see how they do. Well, the Tau haven't done a lot of moving at all. The crisis suits here kind of shuffled up a couple of inches, so they're in rapid fire range. These guys haven't scudged. I think I'm better off standing and shooting than moving and having modifiers to hit. I'm not going to get that far given how close I am to the edge of the board, and they're just going to catch me. And these guys move closer to this side. Are they going to try and take pot shot to the Morkanaut and then try and jump in and help with combat? I don't know how that one's going to play out, but hey, shooting phase, that's the Tau's go-to phase. Let's see how they do. Well, starting here with the Tau shooting phase, they did nothing. They did fire at the Morkanaut, doing, well, butt kiss. So over on this side, it was a bit more conducive, taking a few more wounds off. That nice Death Dread sized hole is much appreciated. That was the smart missile systems doing only a couple of wounds. But then the high yield missile pods absolutely devastated that one, which is cool. The Storm Surge, when it opened up, the smart missile systems and the cluster rockets did nothing. There was literally 0 wounds. But the pulse driver cannon, we did 1 shot, at which point I was like, oh, this is not going to do anything. Managed to knock a nice 6 wounds. That was the 1 shot that carried through. D6 wounds, rolled a 6. I'll have that one. So not too bad. I'm kind of hinging that when the Orks try and charge with a wound or 2, they're going for the broadsides. All 3 broadsides will open fire. I just need to do a wound or 2, and they should be okay, theoretically. So it's just this corner that had any sort of combat. The Tau was certainly not going to voluntarily charge Orks, to say the least. The Tau did nothing at all. They have 12 attacks between them. They did two hits, neither of which wounded. So yeah, go team. The Grots then killed 2 in return. So you know you're doing pretty badly when even the Grots in their rusty tins are doing better than the Tau in close combat. For Christ's sake, they're only Grots. Yeah. Onwards to the Orks turn 2. Start of Orks turn 2, and the movement phase was quite nice. The killer cans advanced up, I did remember that I had a moment when, oh well, at least they can't burn them, but they're assault weapons, and it's not 7th edition because I'm a pillock. So yes, they will be able to shoot in the next turn. This guy's kind of moved up somewhere in the middle. I'm hoping it might create a bit of space for the Garkanaut and a bit of a push. But we'll see how that one does. They're gonna get burnt, and the Orks are ready to jump after moving up. The Morkanaut's moved up so he can open fire on the bulk of the Tau forces, or at least what's left, and these killer cans are making a move to finish off these crisis suits. So it might be bye-bye crisis suits. And that is the movement phase. On to shooting. So for the Orks shooting phase, the wall of fire did very little. It took 1 wound off from 4d6 hits. They made some pretty decent armor saves. The Scorcher, again, it just pinged a wound off. The Garkanaut opened fire completely on the Storm Surge. Storm Surge has lost 8 wounds. There was also few shots from the Morkanaut. The shorter range 24-inch ones, the rockets and the custom mega blaster, open fire at that. The big cannon and the twin big shooter pinged a few wounds off from there as well. And there is no shooting in that corner because everything's locked in combat, or they can't see. So on to probably the most crucial phase, close combat for the Orks. For close combat, the Killer Cans managed to make their charge. The Garkanaut charged first for the broadsides. He took 1 hit, took 3 wounds for his trouble, but then locked the broadsides in so he could get in without any trouble. This Death Dread charged, and again he only had 1 wound left, but he took all the plasma shots and he's fine. I just thought I'd show you I have a feeling this is going to be the turning point where lots of stuff is going to die, and it may be Farsight with a Storm Surge left very short. And this is kind of what I wanted to do, the before and after. So the close combat phase went more or less as I thought it would. So the crisis units just were wiped out completely. The broadsides are virtually wiped out. We've got 1 left on 2 wounds, so yeah, that sucks for the Tau. Are looking very, very, very deep trouble, to say they're going in for their 3rd turn. The Storm Surge is going to need something big to pull this back, but with a Morkanaut and cans, and yeah, not looking good at all. This has gone not the way I thought it would, actually, if I'm perfectly honest. So yes, on to the Tau's next turn. Turn 3. Yes, very quick movement phase for the Tau. The broadside disengaged. It was literally going to die, but it meant I could open fire on these guys. And again, if they want to charge him, he can overwatch. It means he'll maybe do something before he dies. Maybe better than doing nothing at all. Farsight's moved over so he can, depending on how the shooting phase goes, try and get into combat with something, whether it's to slow it down or whatever. This guy was too far away. I did wonder if I could send him on an assassination run, but not yet. And over in this corner, I've just left the crisis suits in combat. If I move, if I disengage, I can't shoot, I can't do anything, and then there's a wall of shots. So they might do some damage in combat, they might slow down the killer cans. I might keep them there all game, knowing the bloody killer cans, because they're not doing anything at all. The killer cans are a bit poo. That's why you don't rely on grots for anything. So yes, rather, I suppose, a rather tense shooting phase, because stuff needs to die before the Tau all die. So the Tau shooting didn't quite go to plan. It started off quite well with the burst cannon killing a Dreadnought, took out Death Dread with 2 wounds. That was a good start, and then the cluster rockets and the smart missiles took 1 wound off that one. Not so good. The pulse driver cannon, I thought, I need something to hit hard, see if I can kill that one. I rolled a 1 for the number of shots, and then I rolled a 1 to hit. bollocks. Yeah, it's not looking good. On to the close combat phase, where it's just Farsight. In fact, I'm just going to do it now. Is he going to charge the Death Dread? Oh, what? Just checked. He is with the 1 inch. You have to be within 1 inch. 2 inches gets him within an inch of the Death Dread. Good job, eh? Almost didn't manage that. Bugger. So the Tau close combat phase wasn't too bad. Managed to kill off that Death Dread. The Overwatch, you know, didn't. I thought just looped in just a little 2 inches. But yeah, he didn't get hit by Overwatch. Well, he got hit. He got 1 hit, but he didn't wound. And then yeah, he actually did decent in close combat. That's the first for the Tau. Though he is staring down a Gorkanaut, kind of almost by himself. And it didn't go too well. The cans did the job for once and finished off the last 2 crisis suits down there. So it's a lot of Orks against Storm Surge, almost in half wounds, 2 wounds left on a broadside, and Farsight against more or less a whole army now. We're pretty certain that the Orks are going to win. It's a question of how much do they win by, so we'll play through for that one. So on to Orks turn 3. So doom approaches for the Tau in the Orc movement phase. Everything's just got that much closer. I think he should be a bit more in range. The cans moving around, they're not going to be quick enough to do anything, I don't think, or to be in range. I think this is going to be quite quick and brutal. They ran really quickly, and they are in range to burn him. He's going to unleash a lot of fire. He's going to unleash a lot of fire. And yeah, let's see if there's anything standing. So, on to Orc shooting. So the Orc shooting wasn't as... I think what was expected. There was only 1 wound done by the Scorchers on the Storm Surge. Farsight took a wound, and the Broadside took a rocket from the face from the Gorkanaut. That's the Gorkanaut, that one. Yeah, a lot of shots went into Farsight, and his shield generator just bounced most things off. Actually, it was difficult to put down. But yeah, so onto probably the more likely phase. I mean, it's only the Gorkanaut who's in for a chance. So in the only combat of this phase, Farsight just got steamrolled. Big claw of Gork. Yeah, didn't even get a chance to strike back. Yeah, so we're going into what I'm presuming is the Tau's final turn. Is turn 4. We're going to see how much damage the Storm Surge can do. I think after that it's probably game over. But we'll see how much damage you can do if we've come this far. We'll fight to the bitter end. So I've done the complete Tau turn. There was no point moving him. He opened fire with everything against the Gorkanaut. He took 1 wound off. 1 wound. Yep, I thought that big gun has done nothing all game. It just keeps missing. I must admit, there's a few bits with the custom force field generator bouncing stuff off. But yeah, Orcs final turn. I want to see whether the Orcs shoot and they'll do it, or whether they'll get anything, or whether they'll just keep whiffing attacks. And yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how this ends. Not well for the Tau, I know, but let's see. So yes, as the inevitable was, it was the Storm Surge got shot to death. The Orc shooting has been far more reliable this game than the Tau shooting has in any sort of capacity, and they're tougher and better in combat. At the end of the match, that's it. 4th turn, the Tau got tabled completely, and yeah, that kind of went pear-shaped for the Tau. I was genuinely surprised. I thought we just thought we'd do this as a fun little match. We're both a bit out of practice in terms of 8th edition games, and yeah, like I know that the Tau list I had was quite a powerful build in 7th edition. And yeah, Orks have suffered for a long time. I thought it'd be a fun match up to see how it goes. Yeah, that was one-sided. That was horribly brutal. The crisis suits did very, very little. I mean, there's a number of wounds pinged off. That's just under half health. That's on half health. There's a few wounds pinged off some of the cans, a couple of the cans. Yeah, actually, I think because it was such a quick game, and again, we were just sort of, again, kind of rolling for fun. We weren't necessarily going for any tournament net list building sort of stuff. I'm very curious to see if I take out all the crisis suits that did very little, because it was one-sided. I think we're going to do we'll do a rematch, and I'm going to put my Titan in. I'm going to put all of my Tau big guns and see how it fares against this Orc Dread Mob list, because that was pretty nasty. I'll be perfectly honest, I was surprised at how effective it was. So yes, so the next battle report will be the first outing for my Tau Titan, with whatever else I can squeeze in. Probably some broadsides and the Storm Surge, though the Storm Surge didn't do very well. There was a lot of misses and stuff, but it was a good fun game. First game in quite a while. I've only played 2 or 3 games, I think, of 40k in 8th edition. I've spent most of the time painting and stuff. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any constructive criticism, any feedback, anything I shouldn't be doing, anything I should be doing, do feel free to let me know, and I can get better as time goes on with these battle reports. So thanks guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.